All right, guys. I just want to get some of my thoughts on this weekend. The draft wrapped up. Answer some questions that I was given, and so let's go ahead and get that out the way first. So the first question I had was, what do I think of Zach Moss going to the Bills? I think Zach Moss is a poor man's Marshawn Lynch. I think it's a very good pickup for them because Devin Singletary, while I think should be the man, I also think he's kind of on the smaller side and isn't the kind of guy you wanna overload with too many touches. But Zach Moss is that kind of guy. So I think it'll give them a good thunder and lightning combo. I do wonder how much playing time he's going to get, considering that Frank Gore is still on the team. And you got to give that man his respect. He's a Hall of Famer in waiting. So I don't know what the plan is going to be with that, but they're definitely going to ground and pound some teams this year, and I'm sure work the play action with the over the top with Stephon Diggs now being added, and John Brown had a good year last year. So I like what the Bills are doing. They play good defense, run the ball, play action. That's actually, if I were building a team, how I do it. Um, the second part of the question was what I think of the Cowboys going quarterback late in the draft. I actually don't think much of it because I will say this: the guy that got his name was Ben DiNucci. He a number I look for a quarterback coming out of college is what was his completion percentage, and I think his completion percentage was around 70%, which is like a key number that usually catches my attention when translating a quarterback to the NFL because I don't think you could really teach accuracy. You can maybe get it a little better if the guy's like 64%. Maybe you could figure out little tweaks to get him to 65. But if the guy's sub 60%, he's never going to be an accurate quarterback. That's just who he is. And so 70% was eye popping, but I think they're going to give Dak his money. I don't think it has anything to do with Dak. I just think that the Cowboys, they shell out so much money to like Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, Demarcus Lawrence got like 100 million, I think, last year. That they'll try to shave money where they can, and so they'll keep drafting like late round quarterbacks. Like for instance, Cooper Rush, I think is his last year of his contract, and then I think his cap number goes up if they're going to want to re-sign him. So I think the idea is to replace Cooper Rush. So I wouldn't put too much stock in that. I don't think you're going to see the guy starting unless there's an injury with that. So the next thing is let's touch on my Jaguars a little bit. I think they got stronger, tougher, bigger this year. I'm pretty hype about that. I love the way they drafted. I think they got talent first while also filling a need. And in the latter half of the draft, they got depth and I think they got stronger. Last year, we weren't very good against the run. So they drafted Devon Hamilton. They signed Al Woods. They signed Gunter at the end. These are all big body guys that'll clog up the lanes so that Miles Jack or Joe Schobert can do their thing. I think they'll be much stronger against the run this year. Usually the hard part is to draft pass rushers and secondary people, and we've done that very well over the last few drafts. And now with C.J. Henderson in the backfield and adding the luxury of Chase on to Josh Allen and Yannick Ngakoue, I think this defense is going to be hot this year, considering that I'm even hearing that they're going to play with 3-4 concepts, and that's exciting too because the more you can do, the harder it's going to be for teams to game plan against you, and if they can't get a beat on you, the more plays that defense is probably going to be able to make. So I'm really hyped to see that. I think I'm not going to go as far as to say they're a Super Bowl contender or anything like that, but I think next year, not this year, but next year is the year to really look at them to make some real noise because they're going to have cap room because they're no longer going to have any dead money tied up in quarterback. And that's what these moves were about that they made this year was to clear some of that cap room with Calais Campbell being gone, AJ Boye being gone. So next year we got money and draft picks to add to a team that already feels pretty talented. Now, they got some choices to make with Leonard Fournette's contract coming up. Cam Robinson's contract's coming up, but pretty much everybody else is tied down. Uh, the other thing I want to address was I was getting ranked on a little bit because of the statement I made about I think our wide receiving core is it's actually a pretty good one. With that being said, the person said that we haven't had a good receiving core. We got one good receiver, which I'm assuming they mean DJ Chark, and that we lost Allen Hearns and Allen Robinson banking on potential. Let me clarify this for some of our less knowledgeable fans. Um, because a lot of people I hear that complain a lot. We let go of Allen Robinson. And I think there's two kinds of fans. There's the kinds that, they just watch football and they enjoy the product that they see on TV. And then there's the fans that they're really into it, like myself, that they understand things from a salary cap standpoint as well. As to how that affects the game. At the time, they signed Allen Hearns to a cap figure that worked both for he and the team at the time. Um, I think they intended to sign Allen Robinson, but the problem was Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, excuse me. Jalen Ramsey got pretty good. Yannick Ngakoue got pretty good, and Miles Jack pretty good. I think what happened was, if you recall, Allen Robinson had a good season, and then I think he got hurt, and then he had a so-so season, or it might be in reverse. He had a good season, so-so season, then he got hurt. But either way, when his contract was up, he was kind of more of a question mark than a sure thing. So when you don't know if you have a number one receiver, you think you should just pay him as a number one receiver. When you know in a couple years you got to pay Yannick Ngakoue, who wants $100 million contract, pretty much. You got Jalen Ramsey, who's going to break the market, and you got Miles Jack that you got to pay. And then also remember, and you guys might not agree, they have Blake Bortles' contract coming up, and they didn't know what they were going to do with him. So that's four major players that you drafted. You gotta have that money for. So when people are like, "Oh, we just gave him up," it's like we didn't. They didn't just give him up. They couldn't pay him what he wanted and keep the players that they wanted. Now the plan's blown up in a lot of people's faces because they ended up losing out on Jalen Ramsey. They got Miles Jack under contract, and you got Yannick Ngakoue complaining that he doesn't want to be back. So you have an argument there, but the plan was a sound plan, if you ask me. Um, I also don't agree that we don't have good receivers. I think it's more of they're more victims of circumstance than anything. 2 years ago, we lost our entire O line, and Blake Bortles was our quarterback. How many receivers are going to look that great with Blake Bortles, unfortunately, and the way that offensive line was protecting? And then last year, we couldn't figure out quarterback. Period. We got Nick Foles in there, gets hurt. Gardner Minshew looks good, but he's a 6th-round rookie, and then Nick Foles stunk it up when he came back in there. There was no consistency. So what can you do? But if you look at Dede Westbrook, he was a Bolitnikoff winner, which means he was the number one receiver in college. You look at Keelan Cole, he went undrafted, but he had almost 800 yards his rookie year as an undrafted free agent. DJ Chark, Pro Bowler last year. And Chris Conley, if you just look at his measurables, dude's like 6'3", and he can jump out of the gym. So the talent's there. The rest of the draft for the Jaguars, though, back to that, I like what they've done. I even like the fact that they got some try-hard guys in the secondary for depth purposes, and we even got deeper at linebacker. They also drafted this kid, Colin Johnson. It's like they heard my complaint about us not having a jump ball red zone guy, because this dude's 6'6", and can jump out of the gym as well. So all in all, I think the Jaguars had a very good draft. I think they're going to be very competitive this year, and I think that they're going to be playing meaningful football towards the end of the year. Now, I'm not ready to say that they're going to make the playoffs or anything, but I at least think they're going to be in the hunt late in the year. And that's all I can really ask for right now, considering we only won 6 games last year. I'm excited to see what happens. And that's where I'm at with it for now. I like where the Cowboys are at too. Any further questions? I mean, just hit me up. Let's talk. I mean, it's about to be that dead period where we don't have much to talk about. But if you got a team, you got a question, or you want to debate it, you guys can see me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm on quarantine lockdown, and I got an opinion about any team you got. So hit me back in the comments. All right.